Hey, good morning, Laura. How are you today?
Good, good. I love this time of year. So it is fall. It's beautiful weather in Pennsylvania, and I am totally loving it. How about yourself?
You know what? Same thing in Cleveland. This is the time of year that we can make the other parts of the country that may have better weather than us and are like constantly bragging about their, oh, it's 90 degrees here. Yeah, but you don't have the same type of color that we do. So, so life is
Totally.
good. So I wanted to invite you to the show because you are one of my featured amazing experts on the upcoming Employee Retention Summit for Manufacturers. And I know you will be with us November 10th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That is Eastern Standard Time, since we're both Eastern. And we're going to be talking about wellness and wellness in the workplace, particularly as it what it means to a manufacturing facility and why that's so important. So I'm only going to keep you on for maybe, 10 minutes or so to have just a little sneak peek of the very much fun that we're going to be having on our interview. So, just tell us why manufacturing and why wellness and, what's your big idea that you're going to be sharing with us on the 10th?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love the question, why manufacturing? Because this is something I get all the time, and I get to share a really cool story. So for me, I was in corporate health and wellness for about 8 years, and I was working through an agency, and I was going to companies all over the place. They could be Fortune 500 or small business. And my favorite were always the manufacturing clients. They were my favorite because, one, I didn't feel like I was working at all. And I would leave the facilities and my cheeks would hurt because I was smiling and laughing. And, me by nature, I'm pretty straightforward. I don't beat around the bush. And in corporate, that's a little, they like
Yeah.
the niceties, they like the sugar coating, where the manufacturing, they didn't, they just wanted it straightforward. And
Right.
for me, that was fun. So, it was just natural for me to lean into manufacturing, to say, hey, this is where I'm going to focus because this is where I have fun.
Yeah, you know what? That's a lot like my story too. After spending 13 years in industrial sales, after being in the welding industry for 7 years, and it's just so cool to see how things are made.
Hmm.
To go into the steel mills and the auto plants, and I got to go in the salt mine, which was really
Oh,
cool.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, the funny thing about the salt, two things about the salt mine. One, never go with the new guy because we were a mile down under Lake Erie and 4 miles out and got lost. Yeah, that wasn't fun. You look for the conveyor belt to see where the salt's going, and then you just follow that. And then the other thing that they do is they give you this little metal tag with a number on it that I learned later was your remains identification tag. So, but it was such a blast. And it's like I'm the same way with you. It's just connecting with the people. You can be yourself. You can just, it's just my people.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And when the corporate health and wellness industry, we've seen how much implementing wellness benefits made a difference with keeping our employees in the jobs that they're currently in, well, I shouldn't say jobs, in the employers they're currently at. It improved just overall team performance, and it improved their overall health and well-being. They were healthier people. They were happier. Before this whole crazy COVID thing started, I remember talking to a company I was at, and I asked them, because they had wellness events every month. And I
hmm,
said to them, what has this been doing for you? She goes, I actually enjoy coming to work, because it was just, she looks forward to, the massages or the education, or sometimes I go in and I just make smoothies for them in the morning. So they look forward to these events. So I think a lot of times we forget as employers that those little things matter. It's not always the fancy raises and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just the little things that they look forward to every day that make a difference. And that's really where I want to come in. I want to make sure our manufacturing, our workforce is healthier right now. There was a study out of, I believe it was Sweden or the UK, and they actually had manufacturing their health, out of 80% of their employers, they were having health issues. 80%.
Wow.
That's a huge number. And it's something that we could so easily help rectify.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't have to be anything big or contentious. It could be small changes. And that's really kind of the platform I always talk on. It's let's make those small, sustainable changes that make a big difference.
Right. Oh, and I like what you said as far as small and sustainable. It's not like this thing, oh, let's have one health fair and invite everybody, and then nobody shows up because they don't trust you and they don't know what this thing is. And maybe they don't understand why they should take time off to go to a health fair. So you're like, well, that didn't work. Not going to do that again. But you do
Yeah.
it again, and then a couple more people come, and then you do it again. So it's just these little efforts done over time to, number one,
Yeah.
you're showing your employees that you care about them, because maybe you're not necessarily thinking about, the hourly workers or the people on the line or in the plant, or health and wellness may not be at the top of their priority list. So there's a whole education that comes along with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't tell you how many times I had somebody come into a health fair or an event and just tell me that they feel like their employees just had to check a box off.
Uh-huh.
And it was just, you shouldn't feel like your employer's just doing this to do it. They're doing
Right.
it because they want to support you, but your employees aren't feeling that. And it happened to me last week. I was talking to a fellow, I actually ran into him at Wegmans, and he worked at a large manufacturing facility by us. And somehow we got on the topic of manufacturing. And he's like, oh, I'm telling my kids, make sure you go to corporate. Manufacturing will ruin you. Your body's going to break down. He's got all kinds of health issues. And I said to him, I said, coming from the corporate end, I said, they're saying the same things.
Right.
Go work with your hands. Go do something. The stress, the burnout, it'll kill you. So, both sides of this have their pros and cons. Now, we know
Right.
from the corporate side, they're making the changes. We need to make these changes in the manufacturing or our workforce goes away. Because if their parents are telling them, don't go into manufacturing, and historically, that's been our feeder system, has been families and friends, we have a big problem.
Right. Well, and that's what the whole summit is focused on. I mean, over the course of these 3 days, November 9th to the 11th, we have 25 experts coming in for 24 different programs, really looking at retention across the whole line. So even though there's one topic, everybody's covering just a little bit different segment, but it really comes down to the leadership. I think the most important thing you said is that this is not a checkbox. This is something that we do for our culture, and it's coming from the heart. It's coming from a sincere interest in taking care of our employees, because your employees know if it's just a checkbox, if that's what it feels like. And maybe at the beginning, it is a checkbox because this is something that, okay, well, let's try this. But again, it's that consistent effort of just making sure that we're taking care of our employees. So, besides wellness, we're going to be talking about accountability and imposter syndrome and C-suite leadership and mission statements. And then even there'll be personal development in there, like rocking your virtual presentation, which you may say, well, what does that have to do with retention? Well, if you have remote employees and you can't connect with them virtually, then it's not going to work. So what we tried to do is just put together this really nice collection that's going to give you both the personal and the professional glimpse into keeping your top talent from becoming someone else's. So, Laura, I am absolutely thrilled that you're going to be with the summit. I know our subscribers and people that are joining in are going to get a lot from your presentation. And for those of you that are paying attention, this is free. It's a free 3-day event. No PowerPoint, no death by PowerPoint. It's just people talking. So click on the link, sign up today, learn all about it, and we will see you November 9th to the 11th at the Employee Retention Summit for Manufacturers. Thanks so much, Laura.
Thank you.